Hello again, traders. Right, apologies for the mess this chart is in, but I am doing masses and masses of testing and building new EAs, and there's something really important on this chart that I have sort of tried to make a few videos recently, but got interrupted and given up. So I'm going to persevere with this one. Apologies if I ramble again. They always end up rambling. Because I really get into the subject. What I want to explain, and hopefully a few new traders will find this as well, but traders that are not so new to what I do, I want to explain the importance of the indicators to me and how I trade very differently to quite a lot of other scalpers. And that is, I use my indicators to keep me out of bad trades. And this is really important because I don't mention this enough, but it is so important, especially if you're waiting for to capture continuations. It's also good for reversals, but in particular I find it with continuations. And I just want to show you what we've got on this chart that's really important. I should do a grounding just for the if there are any new traders find me. I've got 9 years worth of videos up on this channel, and they they track basically my progress from being a pure candlestick trader, developing the 3CR, 3 candle reversal, from the 2B reversal. And it wasn't, you've got 3 candle, 3 bar reversals, 4 bar reversals, you've got all that all over the internet. I didn't even know they existed, quite frankly. I knew all the old style, shooting stars, hammers, all that lot, hundreds of those off of baby pips. But I did develop the 3 candle reversal off of the 2B reversal. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I am a pure candlestick trader. But why would you not use indicators, use software? And all my indicators are non-lagging. That's important too, although you can use lagging indicators to make money from still. But remember this, always remember this, guys. Candlesticks and bars are indicators. So for all you idiots that listen to idiots telling you don't trade indicators, they are all trading indicators, and they're so stupid they don't even realize. Anyway, back to the point. The life-changing, after the 3CR, after the 2B reversal, the most life-changing thing that happened to me was finding the RSI histo bust, pullback, break and close. You got to remember, I've spent probably the best part of 60,000-70,000 hours now, well over 60, possibly getting near 70. I'm addicted to this stuff, and I'm now on an absolute adrenaline rush because I can study, I can use AI to test every single idea I get now. Every single idea. We all can, and I'm just blown away by it. Anyway, back to the point here. Just this little chart here. I got back from the beach. I get the 2 hours on the beach, hopefully swimming most of that time, and walking every day. 3.5 hours today. Fantastic. I've got my trading in and my work in before I hit the beach, and like the Vietnamese, I'm in their groove. They all get up at 4 o'clock. They're on the beach by 5. The ones that really live life to the full. And I set my alarm for 4. If I roll over at 4, that's great. If I just doze for half an hour, and then I can get 4 or 5 hours work in, and it's only still 9 o'clock in the morning. Time when the sun's nice and strong, the sea's nice and warm. Heaven. My idea of heaven. Anyway, back to the charts. Apologies for that, guys. I said I'm a rambler. So anyway, I'm looking at this here, and I've missed the best entry, which is the bust, pullback, break and close. The break and close is the close above the bust level. Search on my YouTube channel for bust pullback break and close, or just use bust and that will find you anything to do with the bust entry. Now if you're watching this like I was here, look at this here. If I'm watching this, I have to have, these have to both be greens. So no matter what I do, I cannot get into a long continuation of this pullback. Doesn't matter whether it's M1, M5, M15 that we're on at the moment. I cannot physically trade long with these two not green. And if they're lower green, well, they won't be lower green because that's the reason they're a funny colour. But I cannot enter that trade. And if these are lower green, then you've got divergence on the lower time frames and such like, then they're a bad potential entry too. So let's look now. So I've explained how this keeps me out of bad trades, and I know what I need to look at for the best trades. That's a 3CR breakup. Thank you, Aaron, for the 3CR indicator. Candle 1, candle 2, candle 3. Penultimate low, in other words, that low there has broken that low there, and that is why that printed 3CR. That low there has broken that low there, and that is a 3 candle reversal there. Close above the high, close above the high. I've got different ideas on those now, and it involves what I call now the line chart 3CR. So we don't have to change, we don't have to close above the candle wick high, but that's a whole new set of rules. So anyway, let's mark a vertical on this close, because obviously that could turn red, or grey rather. This one could turn red and the whole shebang has stopped. So then we go to the lower time frame and we can have a look at that. And the reason I'm dropping to the lower time frame is not because I use it to enter the trade, because we couldn't have entered a trade long without that close, as I just explained to you. Apologies, this will take a while to switch over because I'm running tons of optimization tests and things like that. So sorry, it's so long since I made a video, I'm getting a bit rusty. So anyway, 5 minute has done also the bust, pullback, break and close on the TMA, although that isn't my official sort of entry. But as you can see, the 5 minute here wasn't the same situation. That is a bust, pullback, break and close, close above that high there. That is a bust, pullback, break and close, close above the high there. But again, we can't hit these trades on the strength of just these blind. We have to look at the time of the candles, the time in the consecutive time of the candles. I know it sounds complicated, guys, but really, you know, if you're not up for the complicated and deep depth that you need to get into to build your own confidence to trade these things, especially when they're like these continuations that I didn't get into purely because it didn't give me the right signals. So I don't really want to digress too much off of this initial idea that you cannot enter a trade long without at least 2 green bars. This one was a 3CR here, and we've got the TMA bust, pullback, break and close, but we didn't have the same on the RSI. But the TMA is more often than not good enough for the you know, it's so rare, quite rare, that, you know, I love these things. And now I can actually build bots that trade everything I want to do. So can you guys. You can trade anything you like, you know, breaks of hammers, breaks of the third candle after the hammer, whatever, you know, count 2 red bars, and when you get a break like that through CR, then drop down a time frame. You can tell the bots to do that. Wait for another 3CR, which is how I used to trade the 3CR naked. It goes on and on forever. But the most important thing, I mean, The other thing I could mention is divergence, and I was talking about a divergent situation when I was trading US 100 this morning, but I made a fluff on the video and didn't produce it. So that's a topic for another video. But let's just finish off this on this particular and focus on what I was saying, how it kept me out of a trade and how I would have got into the trade. And apologies again, it's because I've got tons of new indicators hiding down here as well that I've built using AI, and one of them took 36 hours to get right. AI is far from perfect. And another little tip, if you are using AI, I mean, I'm not talking to the pros because I'm far from pro, but if you are in a sticky situation with one model of AI, I don't know, ChatGPT, and you've got it, put the whole thing into Grok, and they will probably, and just say, look, sort this thing out. Instead of wasting hours and hours trying to get ChatGPT to do what you want, Grok will probably do it in seconds. So just a little tip there, flick between models. Grok 3 gives you 15 attempts, and more than often than not will deal with any problem I have for free. I do pay a AI set of agents and things, as we all do probably, that are involved in this, but it never hurts just to flick to another one or use an agent within your platform that you're doing AI stuff for. But anyway, this is brilliant because it kept me out of the trade, but I'll still be watching this, and I've always got one eye on this for the alerts and just double check everything's looking hunky-dory on there. I will digress now. Actually, we've done this to death. It kept me out of the long trade after I got back from the beach. I was watching this for this. This would have had to change to green and high and be a high, and this would have had to change to green and continued high, much like this situation here. And it's quite rare that you will get 4 green bars on the TMA. So consequently, I was already thinking this is overextended now, and that's just another way that we can use AI. We can ask it to say, right, okay, check for 4 TMA bars. Once you've got the TMA logic into AI EA, as it were, sorry, it's all abbreviations, then you can test for anything. You can test, I've got all sorts of tests going on. It's insane. And it's good because I'm going to be producing some profitable trading robots. Anyway, I'm getting overexcited again. It's 13 minutes into this video. Put it on 2 speed, as I tell everyone and people know to do now. But we shall have a look at the situation with US 100, because that has just been going bonkers. Again, apologies for the slow crossover, but it is purely because I've got so many indicators on here, and I've got tests running as well, so it's time to get a new laptop, I guess. Right, US 100, and look what we've got, 4 and 4. How did I know this might happen? TMA bars. But what have we got good going on here? Well, we are on M15, had to remind myself now. I've been trading this long all day long. We are at all-time highs, but what have we got in our favour? I've got my little pivots, and I wouldn't be surprised if it tests that R1 pivot there, if you can see that, the white pivot. Everything on my charts is on here for a reason, because I've lived and breathed this stuff for over 20 years now. God knows how many. And I absolutely still love it as much as I did when I started making money. So yeah, we're on M15. We could do with looking at M5. Just as I say that, there's divergence there that I was making the previous video about, but I'll talk about that another day. And the price has gone up, that's the point. That's why I have both of these on there, because notice when that's showing divergence, the RSI histo wasn't. You can pause that and just go back and compare them. Excuse me. So when you've got that situation, and I'm not going to go back, it's bullish. You know, the fact that the RSI histo still wants to be bullish suggests that the bullish run is not over. You know, so there's two ways to use that the divergence on both of these things, and common sense as well, because we are still in the tail end of the Asian session and the early part of the. We've just had Frankfurt open, and now we're actually on the button for the London Open, 1 minute past 8. So yeah, I mean over here it says we've got to get in early, and we cannot physically get in. Sorry, mouse problems. We cannot take trades when oh, I'll forget that. Moving that. We can't take trades there, but we could have possibly got an entry there, and this will keep me out of longs. There's no way I want to go long there, and there's no way, you know, there. And then look what happens when it turns green. We've been waiting patiently for this to turn green. This is the point I'm trying to make. We wait patiently, and what have we got here? Bust, pullback, break and close. That is the doggies whatsits of continuation entries and 3CR, 2B, whatever you want to call it, entries. Bust, pullback, break and close. This would look at the numbers. 30.97, you have to double or triple check these because for some reason they changed. 30.97. Apologies for all the tooting outside as well. It's sunny Vietnam, that's what happens. 34.91. What was that one again? 30.97. If that was 30.98, I would still consider that a valid entry. That is how much I love the bust, pullback, break and close entry. So, and notice nothing here, but if we get a new green here that closes higher than that, and this is green as well, then all over that like a rash. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Please like and subscribe and comment and all that lot. Don't ask me for anything on YouTube because I spend very little time there. Come on to Best Forex Method, same name, on Twitter, and post the link to the video, and then ask a question, whatever you want, whether it's about the indicators, and if I'm not about, someone hopefully will help you. Okay, so that should be it really. Yeah, I'm not going to mess this video up by continuing. So bust, pullback, break and close, best thing in the world. TMA slope, next best thing in the world, and it goes on and on. Everything on my charts is on here for a reason. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'll be in the sea in about an hour's time again. Thank you. Bye.